I don't have any rabbits to pull out of my hat.
I mean, we're just launching the new line, so this is all this. You've got a lot of the exciting stuff out of the way. All right, and here we are. We're back again for some more God Hockey, and today I've got a returning guest. I have my good friend Kirk Allen from Warrior Hockey. We're going to walk through some of the new line. How's it going, Kirk?
Good, Dana. Thanks for having me back on.
Absolutely. You're on the must-have list. So we're getting into some pretty exciting times. We've got a brand new line that's ready to launch, and maybe we'll jump right in with the new pads. Let's talk G6.
Yeah. Our customizer is now live, so we're accepting custom orders for the G6, and that includes the new 6.1 glove and blocker, and also an intermediate custom as well. So look for stock product to hit stores a little bit later this spring, maybe early summer. So really excited though to see the demand and the excitement. I've gotten tons and tons of questions all over the place, emails, Instagrams, people just so eager to get more information about the G6.
Same for me. I've been seeing it a lot online, and I've been seeing a lot of the whispers and guys asking me all about it. So this is a good opportunity to kind of answer most of those questions. So what's new?
Where to begin? I mean, for sure, one of the most exciting things about the G6 is going to be the slide. No secret, now the slide plate is out there. That's been something we've been working on for over 2 years now, and it's gotten a lot of great feedback. It really instantly, it just takes your slide to the next level as far as the speed and from A to B, and also the consistency aspect is something we've always had a focus on with Airside, is not just creating a fast sliding pad in a lateral movement, but something that slides that same way throughout the course of a game or a practice. And the slide plate really enables that even more so. And we didn't just change it with the slide plate. We call this now in G6 our Airside 3.0. And I can show you a couple of the other changes as well. You can obviously see the slide plate here, but the recesses in the shin section now go from the face of the inner gusset all the way to the back. And that really helps to get that snow and ice buildup through the crease to travel through much easier. And then also throughout everywhere here, down in the boot, throughout the air slide in the shin, and then up into the thigh area, the knee and the thigh. This is all HD foam now in the inner gusset. So that's going to give you a much stronger contact to the ice and a faster.
So a little less compression when you land, keeping the energy moving laterally.
Right.
Okay.
And one thing with this pad too, like some people may choose to not use the slide plate. It's an easily removable part. You find that it's too much speed for you to try to harness, or you don't have enough practices coming up to where you could feel comfortable with the speed that it brings. You can take it off, and it would still be our fastest sliding ritual pad to date without the slide plate. The slide plate only takes it a little bit faster.
Kicks it up, turns it up to 11.
If this is not something that you think you might like, or if you try it and it's not your cup of tea, you can still take the pad off and it's going to slide faster than a G5 or a G4. So
and so for anyone who's not quite sure exactly what we're looking at, so we've put like a clear shell essentially over the knee, and that's just giving you just that ability to slide even more than a traditional material Gen Pro, or even some of the newer things that other brands and other pads have had.
Yeah, it's a polycarbonate plate, and I can do some Velcro here for a second. I'll show you. Just to give you a better visual.
Oh yeah, simple.
Yeah, and you do
so simple even a goalie could do it.
Yeah, you do it on the underside, and then you can take it off completely. And then you would just factor it back down, make sure that it's secure.
Nice and easy. And the same HD in the landing on the actual outer knee if you do take it off.
Yeah. So,
does it make a lot of noise when you hit the ice?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Once you go back to using a pad without it, and then you get scored on in your next game where you're sliding to the back door and you're just that close to getting there in time, that's when you're going to start to think like, would I have gotten there with the slide plate? And chances are you probably would have.
Yeah. Any real shape changes? Any flex differences that we want to talk about?
Flex for sure. So this is also going to be our stiffest pad that we've released.
Okay.
And we've done that by way of a one-piece internal core on the stock G6 Pro Plus, and what we call now on our customizer, the stock option being a stiff thigh rise with a medium stiffness below the knee.
Okay.
On our customizer, you can also choose 4 other options now too. So there's a lot to choose from and how you want the pad stiffness, and then also with the shaping of the pad, primarily achieved through whether you want an outer roll break here below the knee or not. That'll allow the pad to take more of an S shape or a Z shape profile over time.
Probably really my preference.
Yeah, really
a little more of that tipped back.
Yep, of what you would select from the core, if it's a one-piece core or a two-piece core, and then how you want to factor the outer roll break too. So really stiffer pad than what we've released previously in stock, and even stiffer than what we've had previously in custom options. And the reason we did that is for performance benefits. You definitely have faster rebound speeds coming off of a stiffer pad like this, a one-piece core, but then also a longevity factor. With us not releasing a GT product anymore, every other year we have a new pad coming out. We know that customers are going to be purchasing a G6 and they're going to want to get 2 full seasons out of it. So subsequently the G7 comes out. So we wanted to make sure that this pad was robust and had a core that could live up to a 2-year pad cycle, even at an elite level. So it might be a little bit of surprising to some people who've used Warrior pads previously, how stiff it is, but there is a benefit to that in both performance and longevity that I think they'll definitely welcome once they've gotten used to the pad.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And then on the back of the pad, there's some other cool things to cover too. So I'll show you here. We have a new top calf strap that you see right here.
Okay.
That strap is also adjustable. So just like you would adjust, kind of similar to our heel strap, our active response heel strap, you have the slick clip with different stitching slots that allow you to make that strap tighter or looser. And there is a Velcro landing area right there for it to attach to. You can also bring the knee down to that spot. You can have the buckle going through the leg channel, or you can have it going on the outside. Just like previous pads, you can take the nylon strap off and just run 2 sling wrap straps if you'd like. And then moving down for strapping options, we have 2 openings now on the inner cradle so that you can get the pad tighter, or
so that calf strap can run right through that inner calf wing.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can run it all the way around the outside,
the way most probably already do. Yeah. That's good. That's a lot of versatility in sort of customizable features that you don't necessarily need to order custom. Right.
We've always tried to make our pads super adjustable so that people can try things for a practice or a game, and if you didn't like it, you can try it back the other way. There's no scissors, there's no knives, there's no worrying like, what if I do this and then this happens? We make it with that in mind so that goalies can find what works best for them.
Yeah.
And another exciting thing in the inside of this area here is our contoured shin cradle. I'll try to give you a couple of vantage points of that.
Okay.
See how that sort of tapers up to the knee and then back down at the boot.
Yeah.
Any pad really without that feature, your main connection points are in the boot and in the knee. And there's typically a bit of a standoff, like an air gap in the shin. And what we've found with this new contoured shin cradle is it's extremely comfortable to have contact with the pad in your knee, your shin, and your skate. And it helps to sort of carry the weight and the balance of the pad in a different way. It makes the pad feel very, very light on your leg. And then also, we've found as well that it gives you a faster rebound speed, because as a heavy puck comes through the shin section, you now have your leg backing up that pad. So there's no sort of lag effect or pillow effect of any shots that hit here. You have that instant transfer of energy from the puck coming off the shin of the pad.
What have you guys been reading? Physics textbooks or something over there at Warrior?
Oh yeah, Pete and the guys, they have quite the library of physics stuff going on, but I just get to talk about it when it's ready.
For sure. As long as they explain it to you before you come on the show, you're good.
Yeah, exactly. But really, really unique feeling that it gives you throughout this whole section.
Mm-hmm.
I think one that goalies definitely already, the pro goalies that have been using G6 really welcomed.
I think your pads, maybe more so than some of the other brands, I think have always had, or maybe you guys have always tried to have a decent, connectivity with the leg and the pad anyways. It does make for a pretty comfortable pad to have on the leg. So that's even going to make it that even that much better.
And I would be remiss not to mention this pad, I already had taken it off, but on all the G6 pads, this was a common question we had throughout the G5, but there is an HD toe box or a toe bridge on the pad that comes on the Pro Plus and then the E Plus senior and intermediate pad. And it is a removable part. It just laces on and off. So anyone who wouldn't want to use the active response strap or use a skate lace or something, they have that option now. And then the active response strap, though, is now an adjustable strap. What we did is we took the heel strap. So you have all the different stitching slots with the slick clip and simply use that now in the toe strap. So for goalies, if you recall, we used to have like XL strap kits, or the G5 toe strap got longer than the G4. And there's all these different kits to get different strap lengths. And now we simply just took the heel strap and used that. So you can adjust this strap to be longer when the pad is new, if you want it to be a little bit longer, or if you want it to be tighter, or if you find like after 6 months that the straps are getting a little bit losing some of their stretch, or they're too loose, you can then regain that elasticity by tightening it. So
I don't want you to drag the whole thing out, but so that essentially what we're looking at the toe, it runs underneath there, and that's where the adjustment comes from. So it goes inside, and then you can adjust from there to give you a little more or a little bit less length. Yeah, that's a nice touch. And I'd say even the sort of landing area where your skate's gonna meet the pad actually looks a little more open, maybe a little bit wider.
Yeah, the outer leg channel piece right here, it does come out a little bit more towards the edge of the pad. So you do see some more
freeze up. Okay, beautiful. I marvel at some of the designs that you guys come up with. I know it's always interesting to see the little things, and we talked about it before. Like when you look at something on a Warrior pad, it's never by accident. There's always a little idea behind it. There's something going on. From someone on the team has come up with a new idea to do something, and it's always great to see. And then get that little bit of insight, of course, into how the soup is made, basically.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I'll use that.
The one thing at the hockey show that I was most excited and the thing that really stood out to me was a bit of a redesign on the junior pads, making them so traditionally Warrior has always had what I would refer to as sort of the smallest juniors, and then in the gloves kind of like the smallest intermediate. So we've always geared it to some of our smaller goalies, and I think now what you've done is you've still kept that there, where you are still catering to making sure we're not overbuilding, but we've given the pad a little more at those bigger junior sizes, so that we're not looking like we're dominating the pad anymore. We're giving like sort of a little more of a fuller look. Can we talk on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So the main differences with the G6 Junior is we have a new sizing, as you mentioned. So previously we were 24, 26, and 28 inch. And now we've shifted. So we're 26, 28, and we also have a 30-inch junior for the first time. And then in addition to that, we went from 9.5-inch width to 10-inch width. So we got a lot of great feedback from yourself and other stores as well, that we were graduating younger goalies from youth to junior. And then right between the junior to intermediate, we were sort of missing that size, not only in the knee height, but also the proportionality aspect of it for a goaltender at that age or that size and development level. So we made that change for the G6 line. So we're really excited to start to offer those sizes and new widths to the pad. and I have one right here, and I can share this with you as well. This is also going to be the first junior warrior leg pad that we've ever released that has the air slide feature. So you have it in the shin with the new recesses. I know it's a little different seeing it on a white pad with the lighting, but all that going through the front edge of the inner gusset to the back, and then also a polycarbonate knee plate on the junior pad as well. In all the testing that we've done with the polycarbonate slide plate, it's been exciting, like testing it myself and seeing pro goalies testing it for the first time, the eye-opening experience. By far the most enjoyable to watch, though, is when you see a younger goalie use it, because there's such a advantage and there's such a instant performance benefit when you slide with this. I work with a goalie coach out in Long Island, who's been great for helping us test pads with younger goalies. He had a video he sent me of a younger goalie who was a first-year goalie and was able to slide from the blue line to the red line in one push wearing a junior leg pad. And it was like, the coach was like laughing in the video, like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And the kid obviously loved it too. So that's been really rewarding to see, these new changes, not only with the width and the size differences that we'll be able to cater to that we had some holes in before, but also seeing younger goalies fall in love with the position and being able to benefit from the product that they choose to use. So very excited for junior. You talk about selling out. Oof, the junior pads are going to sell very, very fast.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be a good year. I think we did go pretty deep on it. So hopefully we'll have some to last past goalie day, whenever that is.
So and then, not to mention, I know you didn't bring it up, but just so if people are watching, the intermediate pad also has the slide plate.
Yeah.
So you get the slide plate on any pad in the Ritual G6 line except for the youth pad.
Right.
So that's
well, let's not get crazy, right?
Yeah, no kidding. So.
No, it is a great feature, and the fact that it's going all the way down the line, just adds to some of the benefits of having it, and the kids who are going to get into it at those ages will hopefully carry it right through into the intermediate, and then of course into the senior. Okay, well maybe we'll move it on to gloves. I know we've got essentially we've got 2 gloves for this year, so maybe we can walk a little bit through both, and we can outline some of the differences. And I know there was an interesting story. You sort of told me how RVH was one of the factors for some goalies using certain gloves, and how that all incorporated into their own choices.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're looking at the G6 and the G6.1, part of the backstory there is we used to have a GT line, the GT most recently, and we had a lot of attention, and a lot of goalies really liked the GT style glove, or they liked the GT2 style blocker with more curve. And we didn't
Me too on the GT.
We didn't want to lose those custom options, especially for customers, and because there's really a benefit to each one. It's not like this one's better, this one's worse. It's each one brings unique performance advantages. So for starters, if you're used to a G5 or a G4 and you've kind of grown with that lineage, you would want to start with the G6. And then for anyone who's coming from the GT2 or uses something else in the marketplace that has more curve in the blocker or has more of an elongated shape in the catcher, you'd want to start with like a 6.1. So the main ways that we achieve this is this is a G6 glove here with a classic graphic on it, is that the G6 has a slightly longer dimension in the thumb. And then we would call it counter the shorter finger dimension. So when you open this glove up as wide as you can, you get a wider catching shape in the teeth. And you look at the silhouette shape of the glove, it's very rounded. So like you could drop a basketball in there and it would fit that shape perfectly. With the 6.1, it's the inverse. So you have a slightly shorter thumb and then an elongated finger. So when you open this glove up wide, you get more of an oval shape, like you would drop a football in it, and it fits that shape really well. So you get some coverage benefits on this glove down here. And then likewise on the G6, you get some coverage benefits up here. And really, that's kind of where we had some feedback from goalies talking about how they use the glove in the RVH. Some goalies like to hold the glove out like this against their hip, and then goalies who hold their hand kind of perpendicular would prefer the G6 because it gets much wider. So when you drop this glove on your pad, you're sort of filling in that area, that dead space,
that little hip space.
Right. So it's not the biggest factor in probably choosing which glove you'd want to use, but it is a factor that some goalies think about when they're in
You'd at least want to try them both and kind of see, because goalies are utilizing that position more and more.
Oh yeah, constantly throughout the game. But really it's starting out with, what are you used to today? And what do you think would benefit your game the most? If you find that this, having a really wide open glove like this would benefit your catching style, then that's great. And if you think like, oh, I just wish I could get a little bit more reach out of my glove, then 6.1 might be a better option for you too.
I like the description, how you use sort of the roundness and the oval rather than sort of throwing a magic number at a perceived angle, because sometimes that's a little bit tricky. And I think sometimes people get a little too bogged down in the minutia of how each manufacturer sort of has their glove shaped. And then sometimes you sort of have one translating to another, and sometimes it's really not even the case, but it just gets talked around it so much that sometimes. So that's a great way to put it. A little bit of a longer glove, a little bit of a rounder glove. Definitely. And you saw that when you hold them open.
I'm pretty forthcoming in telling people, like, your first time using a Warrior glove, if you've never used one previously, you're not going to catch as many pucks as you did in your first practice, because there's so much wrist mobility. The glove is so light that your body and your eyes and your mind are all trained for your own reaction speed. And when you open up more wrist mobility and have less weight on your hand, your timing is just going to be that fraction of a second off. I said, call me back after your third practice. And it's always, I'm catching more pucks now. Like, the tee is incredible. Everything's hitting the tee and funneling in, and now I'm dialed in. In regards to the stock versions of these gloves, sort of continuing with the GT2 in mind, where the 6.1 model has a fixed liner, so this wouldn't be removable in this glove. On custom, you can customize it to be removable if you'd like that. But for stock, we have a fixed liner in the 6.1 glove and on the blocker. And then on the G6 line, continuing from the 5, you have the removable liner aspect to the story for stock gloves. So that's a slightly different feel thing, just more of a mindset thing, that some goalies really do like that option. And other goalies think that they just like the feel, and they're not going to take the palms out and wash over time, which is fine too. So we have two just for differentiation. And if you really want one or the other, you can customize it.
Custom is there. And single T, double T?
Yep. Single T, double T. And I don't have a sample with me today, but we just added for the first time on the customizer a add-on conventional wrist strap too. So there's really some pro goalies have asked us for a wrist strap, and we made that part removable, so you can custom order it on your glove, and it's not going to be stitched down. You can remove it if you end up not liking it.
Slides through into the cuff.
Yeah, kind of. It would go underneath here. It kind of wedges between the Velcro there, and then it would wrap around.
Okay.
So you can actually rotate it even a little bit, just like our pads and everything else. It's super adjustable.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, there's no fear in ordering it, because if you don't like it, you can take it off.
Now, for the most exciting piece of goalie equipment, what are we doing with blockers these days?
Yeah, blockers have a differentiation story, just like the gloves, starting with the board shape. So you tell with a G6 board is a 20-degree board curve, what we call, and then the 6.1 is a 35-degree board curve. And really starting out with the blocker board, it's, what do you put the highest priority on out of your blocker? If you talk to some goalies, they'll say the fastest rebound speed possible. Other goalies would say, I want it like just to be a little bit thinner and lighter. Then we maybe go with the 6.1. They each have coverage benefits, really. With the flatter board shape and the thicker board shape of a G6, you are presenting a larger surface area towards the puck. With the 6.1, if you think of more like low angle shots, like shots in tight, rebounds and things like that, you do get a coverage benefit from having the curve of the blocker from anyone that's trying to get a rebound and try to quickly get it up over you. Having this curve does cut down the angle as well. So coverage wise, there's benefits to both. And as far as rebounds with the G6, you'll definitely have a little bit of a quicker rebound and a higher elevation of the rebound. With the 6.1, I found most goalies who put a lot of emphasis on being able to steer the puck and really control where the puck is going to go off the blocker. Yeah. It's not that one is slow and one is fast or anything. They're both the same stiffness and they have the same cores. It's just more distinct benefit that you can get from
sure. Sure. And a lot of that even too is also just dependent on what the goalie's doing. If you're trying to direct a puck in the G6, you're going to be able to, and if you want it to be lively off a 6.1, you're still going to be able to as well. But you're right. It is good to have the details. This is the idea behind it.
Right. And then on the finger protection as well, both of these share this in common. We have segmented the finger protection. This used to be sort of fixed to the back of the board. And if you can imagine, like when you close your fingers, the finger protection would stay up here, but your fingers would come down. By segmenting this now, though, you get that full index fingertip protection when you close your hand. We have an X foam additional piece here. This is removable. So if you end up not wanting it, I find a lot of goalies, it's either if you've broken a finger before, they want to put as much stuff in this area as you can. So we have the removable index finger piece. We have the new X foam piece, which is the same.
That X foam is a little softer.
It's the same type of foam that we have in the crown of our F1 Pro goalie mask.
Right.
So it's really protective, but it is removable. And then the same adjustments as well for how tight you want your fingers to be. But yeah, likewise, if you've never been hitting the finger, really just don't find yourself in those situations. A lot of goalies will like to take these parts out and have a little bit more freedom. And so you can do that as well. And then lastly, like the G6 glove that's got the removable palm and then the sewn in palm on the
G6 0.1.
Yeah. So, but this is really good for protection, a lot of protection upgrades here. And then also for the paddle down, this gives these parts a little bit more freedom to move out of the way when you're trying to go down into a paddle down. So you have a nice smooth seal along the ice.
So we managed to put plastics on the pad, and now your chest protectors look more like you've taken off plastics from some of them. So we can't get away from it no matter what we do with you guys, Kirk. Have we got something exciting to see in the world of chest protectors this year?
Look for Ritual X4 update, probably 2023. And definitely excited to see, well, I've already seen a little bit of it, but to share more about that when the timing is right. But yeah, the X3 Pro Plus and the X3 Pro chest protectors have done really well for us. As you mentioned, we kind of took a different approach. I would more describe it as like taking what we knew was always a great route of designing the arm of a unit so that it had mobility and protection in an engineered fashion. And we had a lot of feedback from goalies saying that they get it and they liked it, but it just was a lot to look at visually, seeing more exposed parts, things like that. So we kind of brought it down and created a hybrid of the philosophy of the mechanical arm into what we would call more conventional or cut and sew construction. So it's been exciting to see those two worlds of having a traditional only cut and sew arm and a mechanical only cut and sew arm come together and bring a lot of benefit to goalies who would maybe have not tried either option prior. So
I know it was exciting to see, and I know we did well with it, so well in fact that we were out very early, and just because of the world that we unfortunately occupy right now was very difficult getting more, and stuff happens. But it was something that was pretty cool, and I'm almost awaiting be able to sort of reintroduce myself to it, because we really did. We had so little time with most of our inventory, again, because it did do so well. Do we have some sticks to show, or do you want? Should we talk about sticks?
Yeah, let me. I have a couple right here.
Go for it.
these just at a quick glance are our E plus sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And it does show one of the new exciting things for the M2 line. As you can tell, I've got a left-handed one and a right-handed one. So previously in the M1 line, when we first launched this stick, we had this stick in left hand only.
Yes.
Now we offer it in full right in our what we call our W33 pattern, which is a twist pattern.
Yep.
This stick, I can hold this one up here because the paddle geometry is the same on every price point. It's our minimum. We call it our minimalist construction.
Mm-hmm.
So for us in the Ritual M series, it was about creating a stick that was a low kick, a quick release goalie stick. Goalies typically have a lot of difficulty, especially starting out, with being able to elevate the puck. It's pretty easy to understand why. You have a huge chest protector on. You're behind the net with about 4 feet of room, and you have 4 checkers coming at you. So it's really difficult in that split second, and with very limited space to be able to get the puck off the ice. So we wanted to engineer a paddle construction that helped that, made it very easy to lift the puck off the ice. And now on the M2 series, that same story and that same benefit applies to every price point, the Pro Plus all the way down to the E model, in lighter weight construction. So the E Plus, and the Pro all got noticeably lighter in the M2 line. And we added, like I said, the full right W33. And for the left-handed goalies, we now offer, this one is our W32, the more popular one that we've had for a number of years, the mid pattern.
Yep.
We have W33, and we've added the W34, which is the wedge pattern.
That's my curve.
Yeah, so that's available for the first time in the M series stick as well. So really excited. Those sticks have actually been in the market for a little while now, and we've had a lot of great reports.
Yeah, I was going to say the whole world is basically out of goalie sticks, and it was for us it was Warrior to the rescue, because we were able to get some inventory in, and yeah, we already are having some early success with them too. So so kudos for that, because yeah, we definitely needed them. And mask line, no real changes.
No changes this year. No, the Ritual F1 mask came out in 2020. We'll be looking to release a Ritual F2 probably in 2023. So
yeah, I mean, masks, it takes a lot to develop, and then the certification and everything. So it's not something you're turning over quite as often. And they're pretty good products. I wouldn't change much anyway. I know you always roll changes into them and things like that as they go, but again, a line that, somewhat limited because of when they came out, but I think we did pretty well with them in spite of, and was definitely able to get the right fits on the right kids. So always excited about some of that stuff too.
Yeah, that's been really rewarding to see all the work, like you mentioned, years and years in development prior to 2020 when it came out, and then 2020, we all know what happened that year, and kind of a little bit of nerves on my side, thinking like, oh my gosh, this is such a fit focused product that you really need a good experience of trying it on and comparing it to what you were using prior. I'm like, what is that going to be like when people can't go to stores for a little while? And it went great. I mean, it couldn't have gone better, even considering all the challenges that came with that. But pros have adopted it very quickly in Europe, and starting to get more pros in North America using the mask as well. So it's been really positive, and it's been fun to see that.
So we did talk, you did mention, I should say, a little bit about the customizer. And so guys can go on now, and we can start, speccing out things. Do you want to sort of lay out a little bit about maybe some of the features of it and some of the ways we can all do that?
Happy to. I've seen a lot of questions online now, and it's a customizer's been out just a week today, actually. And a lot of the questions come from the stiffness options, and then also come from the outer and inner leg channel cradle options, the outer cradle and the inner cradle. What do those mean, and what should I choose if I used this before and I liked that? So if you're looking at this pad right here, as I mentioned earlier, this is our stock pad. So this is going to come with a one-piece core, so there's no break internally inside this pad, but it has a medium stiffness below the knee and what we call our stiff thigh rise here. Where you can really start to change that is there's 2 other one-piece core options. So you can go with a medium stiffness thigh rise and a medium here. So just like the stock pad, but a little bit more flexible up top. And then you can go to the stiffest option, being a stiff thigh rise with a stiff below the knee. So you have 3 different.
And a very straight pad.
Yeah, very straight pad when you go with the stiff below and the stiff above. And then continuing there, you have the 2 options for the for the 2-piece core, where you have an internal break below the knee, which we call our softest break that you would get there. And then you could vice versa choose a medium stiffness thigh rise still, or a stiff one. If you're coming from the G5 Pro pad, you would want to go with, and you liked that, and that's what you're trying to replicate, you would go with a 2-piece core with a soft below the knee and a medium or a stiff above the knee, based on what you thought and what you liked, and what you're trying to get out of the G6 for longevity of the core stiffness. So that's really been the main thing, is trying to walk through all those different options and comparables. For us, it's really like, what do you want to get out of the pad? Is it performance? Is it longevity? Is it a soft flex? I get a lot of questions from goalies. How do I custom order this pad to get more of an S-shaped profile? You definitely would want to start by looking at the 2-piece core options for that. And then, as I mentioned earlier too, the outer roll plays a slight factor in that too, and being able to keep a straighter shape if you'd like that over time, or help you to start to develop that Z shape or the S shape profile by relieving some of the pressure of the outer roll there. So that's a big one. And then the outer cradle, you'll see that we have like what we call our long and wide, and then like our short and narrow, or short and wide. What that's referring to is the dimensions of this part here. So our stock option is to go with the longer. So it goes almost down towards the toe of the pad, and then it's wider. So it gives you more space when you wrap this around. We find the most popular and most common. There's no harm in going with the stock option at any point on the customizer. But this is what we find most goalies like, and what we've offered for the most part in the entirety of the G series. But now we're offering to go with a shorter option. So if you wanted to stop right around the ankle, you can still do that and have that same width aspect, or you can go narrower with this part too. So it's just simply going to change the dimensions to be wider or shorter.
I think I'm definitely the short in terms of the length down. I'm definitely the short. I don't know whether I'd go what I would get out of either. I would probably leave the stock in terms of like the depth.
Right.
But that's good. That's great that's an option.
We have most of this is come from our pros in Europe that wanted the shorter option and narrower option as well. I will say, like, we found when you do go shorter, it really does allow this part to wrap your leg tighter. So you expect it to feel a bit snug and a little bit, I wouldn't call it like less space, but a little bit more contact wrapping tight to your leg. Because
so even if that's just what you're trying to achieve, that might be
you're trying to
something to keep in mind.
Because the skate sort of free floats a little bit more when you have the longer part. So then on the inner cradle, you're just going to choose the length option there. There's no difference with the narrower.
Right. The wrap is still the same in either way.
So just wanted to touch on that a little bit, clear up some of those questions.
I mean, I know a lot of times when I talk to customers when they're doing it, and even sometimes in the store, we'll just map out a pad, for them when they're ordering. And a lot of times I'll even say, if there isn't something you think you want to do, stock is a good option. The way they make the pad is already pretty good. So, sometimes doing too much can sometimes it can cause a pad to have an unforeseen outcome that where it's something that you don't like. So yeah, on top of it all, I think a lot of times, yeah, mostly stock with a couple of the things that you really like. Usually it's going to be kind of your best option. And you guys still make the best knee pads in the game, and you guys still make the best jocks in the game. I think all the way down from the youth all the way up. I think you guys have always really nailed it. And in the jocks in particular, and then especially in the knee pads, I know we always have a lot of success, and we always seem to be running out and needing more. So that's definitely an area of strength as well. Are we going to be able to see at some point possibly a return to maybe some NHL goalies wearing the gear? Is that something you can or want to discuss?
Yeah, it's definitely something that's I would say in our plan at this point.
Okay.
When will the first goalie be on the ice wearing G6 gear? I don't know that date, but probably sooner than later.
Okay.
I can wink at that. And we're excited for that. It's definitely something we want to approach carefully, because it's a big project.
Yes.
It has a big effect on our brand and our business, and it's something though that we're excited about, and I think we'll definitely have really good success with it. It's defining what success for us will be with the NHL endeavor, and making sure that the goalies that choose to use our product are happy with not only the equipment but also the service that we provide. So I'm definitely excited about that. It's been a long time coming. It's something that a lot of goalies who have used our equipment for so long have said, like, I just want to see it there. I want to, see that validation aspect of it.
Yeah.
And for us, it's something that we definitely acknowledge is going to happen at some point.
Kirk, I'm gonna let you go. Thanks again for joining me today. It's unbelievable. I always love chatting with you. I always love talking gear with you, and it's great to get a chance to talk to you again. I hope we get to do it again soon.
Yeah, thank you, Dana. Anytime.